Hey folks, it's Matt once again, and welcome back to another review, and this time it is Jersey Girl. Now, this is a film that Kevin Smith was doing his, what you call View Askew movies, films with Jay and Silent Bob, from Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, all films I do ultimately love, really enjoy. And I felt this was kind of his first misstep, but I mean, he was trying to do something different, trying to move away. And I don't hate the film. I like the film okay as a time waster. And I would put this above Zack and Miri. I would put this above, definitely above Red State and Tusk. But after this, he would do Clerks 2, which is a much better movie. I just, okay, no matter what I say, the DVD is great. The DVD is fantastic. If you've never seen the film, or even if you don't like the film, I think the DVD is worth it because the two commentary tracks, one with Kevin Smith and Ben Affleck, the other with Kevin Smith, Scott Mosier, and Jason Mewes, are two fantastic commentaries. They're absolutely hilarious. And honestly, I would say more entertaining than the movie. Plus, you have Kevin Smith and Ben Affleck talk shop, which is very fun. Talk about their journey from Morris to Jersey Girl, where they're just ribbing on each other back and forth. The Tonight Show's Roadside Attractions featured Kevin Smith. That's a lot of fun because Jay Leno had Kevin Smith for a few episodes of The Tonight Show go on the road and see real life attractions. That was fun. Also has the behind the scenes little featurette. Ben Affleck. This is the time Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez were an item. I don't know if anyone, well, probably remember the whole Bennifer thing. People were getting really tired of Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez together because they kept hearing about it in the newspapers. I didn't because it's nowhere. I don't read the newspapers and shit, but a lot of people were getting tired of them. And they were a couple, and they made Geely, which became a huge, huge, huge bomb. And this was the second film that was coming out. And apparently in the original cut, which was never released, Jennifer Lopez had much more of a role in this. But a lot of it was cut down, so it starts with, well, really it starts with this little girl in front of a class after a few other kids are reading their papers. And she's reading a paper, which gives a little backstory to back in 1994, Ben Affleck was a music publicist. Couple, Jennifer Lopez, they fall in love. He takes her to see his dad, played by George Carlin. May he rest in peace, greatly missed. He does a good job in the film, George Carlin. He's fun. Like, don't, when I leave, don't get that grease off that pan. It's better than swallow the shit my son feeds me twice a year. He did a lot better than me, because George Carlin. One leads to another. Jennifer Lopez gets pregnant. You have some fun bits of dialogue where she's upset being fat, and they're going to a party. Is it all those people are thin? And Ben Affleck goes, well, they're just coked out whores. And Jennifer Lopez, I want to be a coked out whore. There's some fun lines of dialogue. Jason Biggs, he has a small supporting role as the assistant Ben Affleck. He appears in the beginning of the film, and then he disappears till about, like, right before the third act of the film. You could probably say maybe 10-15 minutes of the film total. But what happens is Jennifer Lopez's water breaks, gives birth, dies at childbirth. Ben Affleck finds out, he breaks down, and I think in the original cut it was much more raw, like you heard and just felt Ben Affleck breaking down, crying, but I guess people laughed at that. Just because when people cry, when they cry in real life it's one thing, when they cry in a movie, you're disassociating yourself, So you're like, he's a pussy. He's a pussy. He's trying. Or something like that. But I would like to have seen that. His rawness. Because I like Ben Affleck. I like Daredevil, especially Director's Cut. I like his work in Kevin Smith's films like Chasing Amy and even, Dogma, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I like Payback. I reviewed that film. I like Changing Lanes. I liked that film. The Town. Argo was decent. I would say I like The Town better, but Argo wasn't bad. Let's see. His acting wasn't the problem in Batman v Superman. It was everything else. So I like Ben Affleck. I mean, I even like Phantoms. So I like Ben Affleck as an actor, and I think he does a good enough job in the film. But again, they had to cut it back. It's mostly just music playing while it's a little breakdown of the scene, like dissolves. And around this time, it's been a little bit of time later, and Will Smith is having a new movie come out. So this is around 96. And by that time, again, Ben Affleck's character is a music publicist. And he's like, oh, like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is going to have a movie career. And because of the death of his wife, he's ignoring his kid. His kid's crying. George Carlin's like, what the hell are you doing? Your kid's crying while you're ignoring it. But he's just concentrating on work as the pain of losing the woman he loved is he wants to keep busy with it. And it comes to a head where he's at a meeting. George Carlin's supposed to watch the kid, but George Carlin's like, no, I've had enough of this. Start acting like a father, shithead, as he calls him. It's weird. Ben Affleck's, his character seems pretty rich, or he seemed like he could afford a lot of shit. So it's strange that he couldn't afford like a babysitter. I'm like, there's no one around that he could ask to be a babysitter. Hey, $10 an hour, $15 an hour. I just wear like not a nanny or babysitter. He seems like he's rolling in the money at the beginning of the film, but he can't afford a babysitter. I guess otherwise this scene wouldn't happen, where he has to take the baby with him, try and keep the baby quiet. People are like, where's the Fresh Prince? And Ben Affleck go, oh, you shut up. You guys are jerk off. You jerk off papers. He's just a 2-bit TV actor. He's never going to be a big movie star. He gets fired. And then he has this nice scene where he has this heart-to-heart with the baby saying, I apologize for not being around for the past month. And it's so not to think about mommy not being around. And I mean, he does a good job emotion-wise, real tears, crying. I mean, I think he does the emotional stuff good. That's one of the good points I'll say about the film. And then 7 years later, and you have the little girl, Raquel Castro. And Ben Affleck's been trying to get his job back throughout the 7 years. Hasn't happened. Like, he goes to the meeting, and in the meeting it's Matt Damon and Jason Lee, but he doesn't get the job. And then it's pretty much just him. Gets a little romance with Liv Tyler, which they were together in Armageddon. Liv Tyler runs a video store. This is a shitty cover. I mean, it's so lame, and then just popping Kevin Smith right there is just literally one of the lamest covers you could have for a movie. Come on now. Before we get further, I think the problem with the film is it seems very typical, predictable. Like if you haven't exactly seen it before, but it feels like you've seen it many times before, whether it be on a sitcom, whether it be on Lifetime channel, movie channel. It just seems like, it feels like I've seen this before. And granted, maybe I haven't seen it done Kevin Smith's way, but it just... I mean, granted, I've seen a lot of movies that are like Die Hard, but yet maybe that's more my kind of movie. This one seems more... This is PG-13, more for... A little bit more for the family, almost a little bit more of a chick flick, as they call it, romantic drama. I mean, it's not. Some of the casts are good, some fun lines of dialogue and stuff. It's just something about it. It just feels very familiar. Very, very familiar. Definitely Kevin Smith's most commercial film. And I don't know, maybe because, especially at the point this film came out, you were so used to Kevin Smith doing very different kind of things. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back is definitely a cult film because you had to have seen other films. It was unique and it was breaking the fourth wall and the fifth wall and the sixth wall because you had to see the other movies, not only as well as scenes talking directly to the camera and so forth. Dharma, definitely an original idea. Chasing Amy, pretty original for a romantic, drama with some comedy in it. While here, it just felt, I don't know, safe, or it felt a little bit derivative. I mean, you even have Ben Affleck wants to get the job in the city. The little girl doesn't want to move. They get a little fight. Then a little bit after, they apologize with each other. Then Ben Affleck's going to getting the job, toss to someone. You know what? Let me go home and rush because my daughter has a play. I gotta make it in time for the play. And yeah, this feels like something you've seen 100 times, and yet it's weird. I can't think of movies like this, but at the same time, it feels like it. I know it sounds stupid, but that's the best way I can describe it. I mean, there's some fun, quirky little things, like the little girl and this little boy. You don't see it, thankfully, but and it's innocent. It's nothing perverted about it. But they're showing each other their parts because they don't understand. And Ben Affleck walks in and then walks back out, and later on sitting down between them, and Ben Affleck's like, "What are your intentions?" And the little boy's like, "Huh? With my daughter. Do you plan on marrying her?" "I don't know. Well, only married people show them their parts." Then later on, the little girl says, "Do you have what he has?" "Yeah." "Is yours as big as his?" And then Ben's like, "Sadly, yes." So there's like little bits of humor there. They're be edgy for PG-13. And yeah, I think Ben Affleck and Liv Tyler work well together. They worked together in Armageddon. I thought they had some good chemistry. Although Liv Tyler seems like she falls for Ben Affleck a bit too easily, that I don't really buy it. Because it's like she's asking, because Ben's trying to rent porn, and he rents the wrong porn. And, oh, so you want something not buy. Yeah, I picked the wrong one. I wasn't looking, and he just put his hand in and just grabbed something. And then she kind of presses into him. I'm like, lady, you don't even know this guy, and you're pressing him about his porn watching, and how come you're renting porn, with your kid here? And it's like, he's awfully. You're kind of like feeling what Ben Affleck's feeling. But then she finds out that he's not married. His wife died in childbirth. Then she tries to apologize, and she's a sweet girl. But even like the next scene or two, they're talking at a diner, and she's kind of pressures him into admitting that he hasn't had sex since his wife died, which was 7 years ago. And she's like, "What, are you nuts? I mean, what, are you a monk?" And just pretty much takes him to his house, ready to have sex with him. And I'm like, man, is that a normal thing? To go in a video store and find a woman, and if a woman works there, if I say I haven't had sex for 7 years, she'll be like, "Okay, let's go to your place and have sex." Like, does that happen in reality? I'm not saying it's supposed to be realistic, but I'm like, what? That was sort of a hard pill to swallow. Like, huh? That seems quick. Maybe that's the point, is that it's kind of weird and not usual, but still, it's like, say what now? So there's a little bits of the story that doesn't play off, like, huh? But I mean, the acting is sincere. There's a couple of fun bits of dialogue. Ben takes his daughter to see Sweeney Todd because she wants to real badly. When Ben and Liv Tyler trying to do something in the shower. The daughter comes home, flushes the toilet after using the restroom, and of course the hot water scalds Liv Tyler. She screams, little girl notices, and then she does the same thing that Ben did to her, where she goes, "What are your intentions with my father? Do you intend on marrying him?" So it's a bit cutesy, but at times it seems like it's really going to sappy territory with certain sequences, like something that would fit on Lifetime movie channel. And again, it goes into he wants to he sees Jason Biggs, and Jason Biggs is able to help him out. He's like, "Oh, when you get to the city?" And she's like, "I don't want to move. You know, why can't you work here?" He's like, "I don't like working as a using this street sweeper." And the girl, honestly, I think the girl's being a little bit of a brat. I'm like, okay, I understand you don't want to move. I understand that, but is there a way to have both? To have a job he likes and, be able to come home? But I guess not. And even the little girl goes, "I wish you died, not mommy." And then Ben Affleck says something very bad, and a couple minutes later, after a little montage, they do apologize. And then he goes in a meeting, or ready to go into it, but sits down, and Will Smith is in the film in a cameo. Sits down next to him and tells a little bit of story about his kids and how, you know, sometimes I think I should be, at home playing with my kids in the dirt than, busy making these blockbusters and such of that nature. And that gets Ben the, hey, I'm not going to take this job. I'm going to go straight home. Makes it to the play in time. Which reminds me of a lot of stuff. I mean, hell, it reminds me of, what was it, Grumpier Old Men? Where Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon are trying to make The Wedding or something in time. I can't remember. Although I like those movies more than this. Well, a lot of movies are like that. Gets to play, they do the play. Then they're just having sort of the final moments of the film. Ben dancing with his kids, saying you're the only thing I did right. Has a nice moment with George Carlin where Ben's like, "Well, don't you want us to leave so you're not, don't you want to live alone again?" Because this whole time they've been living with George Carlin, and George says, "No, it's just I don't want to die alone." Which was a sad line to hear considering George Carlin's no longer with us, but George did a great job acting wise. You even have the song by Pete Townsend, was it "Let my love open the door to your love, I open the door, I love open the door." So I like that song. And, I mean, the movie, the cast do a fine enough job. There's some fun bits of lines, little sequences. It just, it's not that memorable. It feels pretty familiar. It feels like a story you've seen dozens of times. It feels like I've seen this in dozens of sitcoms. Just, twerked into Kevin Smith, PG-13 version. And I don't know, just the whole ending with him doing the play for his kid, and is that whatever? There's sort of a whatever in a lot of sequences. Cool that Will Smith got to do a cameo in a Kevin Smith movie. Ben Affleck, I lied. Liv Tyler, I lied. George Carlin, I lied. The kid's there. She does serviceable job. She does what she has to do. Bruce Springsteen, some songs from him, including Jersey Girl at the end credits. I know the movie's dedicated to Kevin Smith's dad, who passed away by the time the movie came out. So, I don't know. I don't think it's that hilarious or funny, but it's there. It's a time waster. It just feels a bit familiar, sappy, syrupy at times. Like a little bit too sweet for your teeth. But yeah, I didn't watch it because I think Ben Affleck and the rest of the cast do a pretty good job. And there's some nice bits of scenes I had a couple little chuckles at, like I mentioned. But I definitely glad to have the DVD because the two commentaries I do feel are more entertaining and funny than the. They're funnier than the movie, to be honest. The two commentaries, and even the Kevin Smith and Ben Affleck talk shop, that's funnier than the movie. So that's part of the problem. But yeah, it's an okay film. It's there. That's the best I could describe it. But either way, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you later. Bye bye.